Hi, my name is Angel Valdez, and I will be discussing different techniques for image optimization for the web and web pages for this assignment for Full Sail University. So the first thing that I want you to see, I want to show you is this is a regular HTML page with a normal individual image. In this case, the image is contained within the same project. So if I run this page onto the browser, this is what I see. I basically see the image that is contained within the img element. You can see right there the img element with the image. Now, the problem with this type of approach is that if I have several images within my document, my HTML document, is that the browsers by default do a certain number of requests um, every time. Every time that they connect to the web server, they request only two different files, between 2 and 6, depending on the browser version and so on and configuration, but no more than that. So if I have an HTML, CSS, and several images, chances are that the browser will be doing several requests, several different trips to the web server to gather all the different resources of the page. So we're looking for alternatives to resolve that issue and improve performance. So another way to do this is by creating an image sprite. And an image sprite, and let me show you an example of an image sprite also, is something similar to this. It's one single image that contains several smaller images that are positioned, separated accordingly by a distance. So what I can do is I can define different styles. For example, the first image within the large image, the first small image is a width and a height and a certain position, of course, starting on x0, y0. So now I'm defining that image as a home image, and I'm defining the next image to start at a different position on the x coordinate. So now what is happening is I can now go to my body and define two images, which in this case I'm affecting them by the ID style, and I'm setting the background image of this img element to be a partial image of the sprite, which is going to be the actual small image, and then the second img element to be the second partial image of my sprite positioned at a different position of the image. So the result is that I will only see on the first image this partial image, and I will only see on the second image this other partial image of the large image. But the advantage of this is that now I can contain hundreds of images, smaller images within a single image. And now when the browser does a request, a single request will bring down all the images that I need for my page, especially images that are small that I use within the applications, the web applications. Now, the disadvantage with this is that even if I'm going to be using a single or two images, I will actually bring down a large image instead of two smaller images. So there are advantages and disadvantages to this technique. It is usually implemented only on small images that are used throughout your application. Another technique is to actually create a base 64 encoding of an image. So for example, there are websites on the internet that they do that for you, and this is an example of one of those. So I'm going to go to the browser, and I'm going to choose any image. I'm going to drag and drop it onto this website, and as you can see, it will create a base 64 encoding version of that image. Now what I can do is I can select that base 64 value, go onto my website, onto my page, and define that as the source attribute for my img element. And you can see right here the base 64 value, which is a very long value for that image. The problem with this, well, the advantage first with this approach is that now my image becomes a text within the page. So now I can have several images as being part of my page, so a single request will bring down all my images. The disadvantage with this approach is that now the images as base64, they usually take a little bit more space than the actual binary image value, the single image value. So you don't want to use this approach in every case. It is a good technique, and you need to evaluate when to use a sprite image, an individual image, or a base64 image. Another technique that I want to discuss is using a new version of HTTP. And let me explain what I mean by that. The problem with downloading individual images are that every time that I have a new image on my page, let's say that I have a page composed by 30 or 40 images, every 2 to 6 requests or different images, the browser will do a new request to the web server, which is going to create a lot of traffic and time, delay by communicating one computer to the other one. Now, and that is because the browser on HTTP version 1 is limited to between 2 and 6 resources per request. Now, on HTTP version 2, that you can see more information about it on this page, that's basically one of the things that they were working on fixing, how to support more resources per request, simultaneous request. So you can watch a video and read more about it, but I'm just going to show you a real demo. And in this demo, we have an HTTP version 2 and an HTTP version 1. And in this case, I'm going to use no latency. I'm not going to add latency to the request. So I can see, for example, this image is composed by smaller tiles. And you can see right there how the browser is going to be downloading tiles and tiles until the whole image is composed. But it's going to be downloading between 2 and 6 at the same time. While I go to HTTP version 2, it's going to be able to download the whole 180 some tiles that compose this image. And the reason for that is because HTTP version 2 negotiates the number of resources per request and is able to download simultaneously and asynchronously many more requests or many more resources for a single request from the web server. So these are different approaches to improve the actual perceived performance by the user. Sometimes perceived performance is actually more important than the real performance. All these different techniques help you create a better solution depending on each case. Thank you very much. Again, it was my pleasure. This is for Full Sail University. See you later. Thank you.